I had injured my foot just through a normal course of working out. When I first had my injury, getting out of bed and walking the first few steps every morning was a challenge. Getting on a treadmill was probably the furthest thing from my mind that was going to happen. I had visited a physician that I had previously used, and we tried a couple different avenues, but then the swelling would just come back, and it never really subsided. So that's kind of what brought me in for a second opinion.
Chris actually came to me for a second opinion after being seen by an orthopedic physician, and he was having a lot of pain in the front of his foot. After I evaluated him, I diagnosed him with a condition called metatarsalgia, which is basically pain around the joints in the front of the foot. The treatment for Chris included rest, ice, elevation. I immobilized him in a walking boot, but I also offered him a more advanced therapy, which is the Class 4 therapeutic laser. This is an adjunctive therapy that can really accelerate the healing process, and he was a very active individual, wanted to get back to running, and he decided to proceed with the treatment.
Dr. Stewart absolutely exceeded expectations. After about the third or fourth session or so, the swelling had almost completely subsided. The pain was, completely diminished, and something that had kept me out from working out for 3 or 4 months was basically resolved within a 3 to 4 week period. I would 100% refer Dr. Stewart to anyone. Dr. Stewart makes a real effort to understand his patients, and Dr. Stewart's office staff is very professional. I always had a pleasant experience, no matter who from his office was treating me with the laser that day.